Hey there, my name is Kat Kerr, and today we're going to be playing with Marabu's new alcohol inks. Marabu's alcohol inks come in 22 transparent colors, 4 metallics, rainbow color additive, and an extender. Here I am first trying out some of the colors onto some white craft plastic. Now I wanted to make a flower, so I added 2 greens to create the stem and let gravity work for me. I added a little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol, just for some texture, and I created the bloom 1 petal at a time by adding a drop of magenta, letting it sit, and then blowing it out with the straw. And I did that with the other two petals as well. Now once the color was completely dry, which only took about a minute, I went ahead and used a fine tip marker just to add some mark making. I then added more of that olive green to the base of the flower in little drops and then blew them out in different directions. And I finished off the flower by using a white Sharpie. Here I am using a 6x6 piece of white craft plastic and the color black alcohol ink, as well as some splatters of rubbing alcohol. I had no idea where I was going with this. I just wanted to see how intense the color was. It wasn't until I decided to add some of that rainbow color additive that I decided that it would be a moon. And so I let the space part of the design dry, and then I worked on the inside of the moon by adding color and then removing some of the color with another piece of paper. So I added some lemon yellow as well as some more of that rainbow color, and then I removed some of it with an extra piece of paper, and I love the way it came out. I finished this piece by adding some stars with a white Sharpie as well as some sticker letters, and then I just used a sharp little awl to go around the moon, and this piece was done. Now I knew as soon as I received the alcohol inks that I wanted to try them with resin. So here I am using Amazing Clear Cast. It's an epoxy resin with a 1:1 mix ratio. And I first tested it out by just adding a little bit of the alcohol ink to a piece of white craft plastic and then pouring some resin over it. And I'll be honest, I was kind of shocked how vibrant it was, so much so that I went ahead and did another test using another brand of alcohol ink and the Marabu, and I only added resin to half of it. Now you can see that the other brand actually fades in the resin, where the Marabu not only remains the same, it almost gets a little bit more vibrant. I was really impressed with how that worked, and of course I had to start playing as soon as I saw these results. First up, I made some alcohol ink and resin pendants. I started by adding assorted colors to a piece of white craft plastic. I used some rubbing alcohol for a little bit of texture. Next, I used a white Sharpie as well as a fine tip marker for some mark making. Today I'm using these Susan Leonard Casimir bezels, and I like using them because they come with a template, so it allows me to see exactly where to cut out the image. So I was able to cut out some of my favorite pieces and just place them in the bezel. I mixed up a new batch of Amazing Clear Cast. I poured some into 2 of the bezels, and the other 2 I added a little bit of the rainbow alcohol ink to add a little bit of sparkle. Once the resin was cured, I felt like the bezels needed just a little bit more, so I added some rub-ons and an additional layer of Amazing Clear Cast. I love the way these came out, especially the ones with a little bit of rainbow in the resin. Really makes them sparkle. In the next project, I took one of my house shadow boxes and used it as a template, and I cut out a piece of white craft plastic and added assorted colors of alcohol ink in a rainbow effect. I added some splatters of rubbing alcohol for a little bit of texture. Once it was completely dry, I tested it on the back of the shadow box and then added a rub-on to the front. I finished it off by adding some ink to the edges, as well as using the Sharpie and then gluing it onto the base of the house. I applied some resin to the top of the house, added some sequin stars, and then waited 24 hours for it to cure, and this house was done. Love the way it came out. To see the complete list of materials used in this tutorial, see the description below. This video is brought to you by maraboucreative.com.